So ngayong midterms, you'll try to finish your GIT and hepatoenteric concepts. So ito na yung mga kalimitang lumalabas sa exam natin when it comes to MS concepts sa GI and hepatoenteric. Dadagdagan natin ng concepts ng anatomy, punta, and health assessment on one. Okay? After your discussion dito, exam tayo, practice exam sa GIT natin and hepatoenteric. Then you move on to orthopedic nursing. Then later on, yung all concepts na tayo, okay? For rationalization and other concepts pa na medyo kulang tayo. Okay, now, as early as now, not only sa GI system, kailangan napipicture mo na. You need to picture the anatomy and physiology of your digestive system. Kailangan na-imagine mo. Kasi one strategy when it comes to answering exam questions is na-imagine mo na yung system. So pag sinabing peptic ulcer disease, na-imagine mo na kung nasaan yung ulcer sa part ng GI tract natin. Okay? So kailangan memorize mo yan. Pictographic memory. Kailangan meron kang pictographic memory. Okay? Pag tinanong ka pa lang sa question, na-imagine mo na agad, especially sa anatomy and physiology. That's ang maganda sa akin kasi if you know yourself. Ako kasi, pictographic memory ako. Pati page noon sa libro memorize ko. Kasi pagtingin ko pa lang at binasa ng very light, na-memorize ko yung page. Yun kaya mabilis yung retention sa akin because of the pictographic memory. Okay, yun ako. Pati page noon, memorize ko pa. Yung DOH book, alam ko kung nasa ang chapter yan, and so on. Okay? Pero depende yun sa inyo. Pero kailangan ng pictographic memory sa MS para alam mo yung location. So remember, your digestive system is divided into two, your upper and lower GI tract. Okay, yung upper and lower GI tract. Papasok yung pagkain. Of course, in your mouth. Doon nagkakaroon ng mechanical digestion. Okay? Ulitin muna natin yung function muna ng digestive system. Di ko sinabi. So your GIT and hepatobiliary system is responsible, number one, of course, for digestion. Okay? Number one, syempre for digestion. Digestion starts in your mouth. Mechanical digestion. But in your mouth, meron na rin chemical digestion, but only carbohydrates. Diba? Only carbohydrates is mechanically and chemically digested. It is chemically digested through the secretion of your salivary glands. You have your tyalin, di ba? Si tyalin, sinesecrete yan ng tatlong salivary gland natin. Parotid, sublingual, at saka yung ating submandibular gland. Okay? Digestion also happens in your stomach, okay? But the major site of digestion and absorption ay saan? Small intestine. So your GIT hepatobiliary, syempre, for absorption din yan. Okay? For absorption. Major site for absorption, digestion, and absorption is in your small intestine, not in your stomach. Okay? Not in your stomach. Why? Because in your small intestine, doon nasa-secrete yung chemical, yung enzymes natin, okay, from your liver, that is your bile, but it is temporarily stored saan? Sa gallbladder. Okay? And of course, secretion from your pancreas that passes through common bile duct. Diba? Yung common bile duct is both a passageway of your bile and your trypsin lipase at saka yung ating parang sir, talaga ba? Diba? Out of the all systems, ang pinakamadali ay digestive. Diba? Sige. Babagalan ko mamaya. Sige. Mamaya. Ulitin ko ulit yan. Sige. Sige. Digestion, absorption, and elimination. Digestion, absorption, and elimination. Ito yung function ng GIT, hepatobiliary tract natin. So, unahin ko muna sa upper GI tract. Okay? Food will enter through your mouth, okay? And there will be a mechanical digestion through the help of your teeth and your tongue. Of course, okay? Now, in your mouth, okay, remember that only carbohydrate undergoes chemical digestion through your, ano yung sinabi mo kanina? Yung thiolin, secreted by your salivary glands, si parotid, sublingual, at si submandibular. So, only carbohydrates ang nagkakaroon ng chemical digestion. Fats and proteins are not chemically digested in your mouth. Okay? And of course, in your mouth, papasok yung pagkain, the mouth and your tongue will help in the grinding and swallowing. Okay? Papunta na ngayon saan? Esophagus. But in your esophagus, before pumunta sa esophagus, may isa tayong part ng katawan na nag-close and open so that it would prevent food from going to your lungs. Epiglottis. Epiglottis covers now your trachea so that food will enter your esophagus. Diba? Enter your esophagus. Now, pag may problema ba sa paghinga, may problema sa pagkain? Yes. Yes or no? Yes. Pag may problema sa paghinga, may problema sa pagkain? Yes. Kasi bakit? Isa lang ang passage ng food at saka air. Ano yun? Pharynx. Okay? Sa pharynx. Okay, so naunahin mo, paghinga, pagkain. Siyempre, paghinga. So kung meron kang activity intolerance na hirapang huminga, meron ka rin problema in the long run sa imbalanced nutrition less than body requirements. Okay, so food will enter to your esophagus. Okay, bababa yan. Okay. And then in your esophagus, dun sa pinakababa, bago pumunta ng tiyan, meron tayong tinatawag na lower esophageal sphincter, your LES. Okay? LES, or lower esophageal sphincter, that is also known as your cardiac sphincter. Okay? Yung cardiac sphincter natin, that prevents food from going to your esophagus but contain the food to your stomach to avoid reflux. Diba? To avoid reflux. Purpose niyan is to contain the food in your stomach, avoid reflux. Dito yung problema saan? Sa pasyenteng merong GERD. Okay? Merong GERD. Sa GERD, incompetent ang LES. Diba? Sa GERD, incompetent ang lower esophageal sphincter. Hence, merong reflux ng food and also acid from your stomach. Okay. Next, we move on. Okay, from your esophagus, pupunta na yung pagkain sa stomach. Okay? In your stomach, remember, is lined with rugae. Okay? It's lined with rugae. Rugae is responsible for what? For the grinding motion. Now, rugae is responsible for the grinding motion of your stomach for digestion. Okay? Now, in your stomach, okay, meron din tayong tinatawag na structure, yung pinaka-importante, si parietal cell. Okay? Your parietal cells. Your parietal cells produces up to 1,500 ml. Up to 1,500 ml of your gastric acid. That helps in carbohydrate digestion. Okay? So it produces up to 1,500 ml of your gastric acid. Okay, that helps in carbohydrate digestion. Plus, aside from digestion, si gastric acid at saka yung laway. Okay, yung laway mo sa bunganga, okay, yung ating laway, okay, meron yang antibacteriostatic effect, or meron siyang bacteriostatic effect that is responsible for the phagocytosis. Okay, so local protection. Okay, yung laway mo at yung gastric acid, meron yang phagocytic effect that has a bacteriostatic properties that engulf microorganism to prevent infection. Okay? So, yung purpose ng gastric acid natin. Aside from your gastric acid, si parietal cell, siya rin ang nagproproduce ng pepsinogen.
Battery pa tayo plus. Perfect. Sige, next. Request na kami ng mga rechargeable micro. Kaya pa. Four na.
Okay, Pepsinogen. Pepsinogen is converted to pepsin for protein digestion. Pepsinogen is converted to pepsin for protein digestion. So, nag-start ang chemical digestion ng protein sa stomach. Okay? Pepsinogen to pepsin for protein digestion. Another in your stomach, si parietal cell din yung nagpo-produce ng intrinsic factor. Nagpo-produce ng intrinsic factor. Intrinsic factor is needed for the absorption of vitamin B12. Kailangan si intrinsic factor for the absorption of your vitamin B12. Okay, kuha natin. So, pag sinabi kong nagkaroon ng ulcer sa tiyan, gastric ulcer, okay, or merong tumor, at nag-gastrectomy ako, gastrectomy, removal of some part of your stomach, pwede sa fundus na area or sa body na area. After gastrectomy, pwede ba magkaroon ng risk for pernicious anemia? Kasi natanggal si parietal cell. Alam nyo na yung mga ganang reason. Okay. Now, after food is being digested, ito yung stomach natin, the fundus is the head part, and then the body. Okay. After food is being digested in your stomach, ang tawag na sa pagkain, na na-digest, galing sa stomach ay chyme. Okay? Ang tawag na sa kanya ay chyme. Si chyme, pupunta na yan sa small intestine, bypassing your pyloric sphincter. Okay? Bypassing your pyloric sphincter, or will pass your pyloric sphincter. Okay? So that food naman will be contained in your small intestine. Okay? Now, your small intestine, ito yung pinaka-importanting part dito. Pinaka-importanting part dito sa ating GI. Why? Small intestine is the major site of digestion and absorption. Ang length niya ay umaabot ng 6 meters. Mas mahaba yan kaysa sa large intestine natin or large colon. Okay? 6 meters, ano yan? Si duodenum, jejunum, at saka si ileum. Duodenum, jejunum, and your ileum. Sir, bakit major site of digestion and absorption? In your small intestine, yung secretion na galing kay liver, si liver at si pancreas, yung secretion kasi na galing sa liver and pancreas, pumupunta yan saan? Sa duodenum. Okay? Pumupunta yan sa duodenum through your common bile duct. Your common bile duct is both a passageway for your bile and your pancreatic enzymes. Si pancreas, dalawa ang function ni pancreas, digestion and meron siyang endocrine function. Endocrine function, meron dalawang cell, si beta at saka si alpha cell na nagpo-produce ng insulin and glucagon respectively. Si beta, insulin. Si alpha, glucagon. Pero ang focus lang muna natin ngayon ay yung pancreatic enzyme, yung digestive enzymes produced by your pancreas. Ano yung produce ni pancreas natin? Digestive na. Diba? Endocrine, yes, insulin and glucagon. Digestive function, ano yung mga pancreatic enzymes? Ang insulin at saka glucagon, hindi naman enzyme yan. Hormone. Diba? Magkaiba ang enzyme sa hormone. An enzyme is a substance that hastens reaction. Diba? That's the exact definition of an enzyme. A hormone is a chemical substance that create change. Okay? Yung ating autonomic nervous system is stimulation. Magkaiba yun. The enzyme, it increases reaction by producing, by digesting food in your small intestine. Ano yun? Lipase, trypsin, at saka si amylase. Lipase digests your lipids, fats. Trypsin, protein, further digestion of protein. And amylase, further digestion of carbohydrates. Remember, if you want to check for the function of your pancreas, ang titignan natin ay lipase. Why? Because only your pancreas is producing lipase. Wala nang ibang organ or gland na nagpro-produce ng lipase, kundi yung pancreas. So if you want to check if your pancreas is functioning well, okay, anong titignan natin sa blood? Lipase. Okay. Lipase. Kung increase ang lipase, naku, baka meron tayong, yung bangungot in Tagalog? Pancreatitis. Diba? Diba, bangungot in Tagalog, in layman's term, is known as your pancreatitis. Ano yun? Auto-digestion of the pancreas. Diba? Pancreatitis is bangungot. Mamaya, dahan-dahan lang sa diseases sa pancreas. Dito muna tayo sa digestive function. So remember, ano yung titignan natin if you want to check for your pancreas function? Like A, liver. Kidney. Ano yun? Creatinine. At TSH.
Thyroid.
Ano yung tinitignan natin doon?
Thyroid stimulating hormone.
Thyroid gland. At sa thyroid gland ba? Or
Pituitary.
Posterior or anterior? Anterior pituitary gland. Okay. Pero it could also connote a function of your thyroid gland kung hindi nagproproduce ng thyroxine. Di ba? Increase. Negative feedback mechanism. Basta tandaan yung mga yon. Okay, next. So yung pancreas natin, yung secretion nito dumadaan sa common bile duct. Papunta saan? Duodenum. Ngayon si liver nagproproduce ng bile. Okay. Bile is for fat digestion or emulsification. Fat digestion or emulsification. But remember, your bile is temporarily stored in your gallbladder. Okay? But your bile is temporarily stored and concentrated in your gallbladder. Once na merong fat sa duodenum, once na kumain ka ng matatabang pagkain at nandun na sa may duodenum, si small intestine will secrete a hormone. Ang tawag mo doon ay cholecystokinin. Cholecystokinin. Once there is a presence of fats in your small intestine will produce cholecystokinin. So that cholecystokinin is a hormone. Cholecystokinin now will go to your gallbladder to contract para ma-release ngayon si bile papunta sa common bile duct, pupunta saan? Sa may duodenum. Nakuha natin. Ay, sorry. Nakuha yan? Okay, once there's a presence of fats in your duodenum, okay, your small intestine will produce your cholecystokinin, a hormone, that will contract your gallbladder so that your gallbladder will release your bile and will pass your common bile duct and will go to your duodenum. Importanteng maintindihan to, class. Why? Kasi meron tayong sakit na cholelithiasis. Okay. Meron tayong pancreatitis. So, kung nagkaroon ng bato dito sa common bile duct, ay merong bato sa common bile duct, your bile will not pass through. Kuha natin. Okay, di ba? Your bowel will not pass through. Magkakaroon ng inflammation of your gallbladder. Babalik yan sa circulation natin, magkakaroon ka ng yellowish color. Okay? Si pancreas naman, nagkaroon ng blockage sa common bile duct, hindi lalabas ang lipase, trypsin, and amylase. Babalik sa pancreas, kaya meron kang autodigestion, pancreatitis. So, causes of your pancreatitis. O, naintindihan na yan, ha? Mamaya tayo doon sa diseases para mas maintindihan natin. Now, after your digestion and absorption in your small intestine, of course, your waste product will not be absorbed by your body. Okay? Pupunta na ngayon yung pagkain, duodenum, jejunum, ileum, meron kang ileocecal valve junction doon sa may right lower quadrant, at andyan yung special structure na wala namang function. Ano yun? Si appendix doon sa may McBurney's, nasa may McBurney's point. Okay? But remember your appendix long ago, ang function ng appendix natin ay for your immune system. Part ng immune system yung appendix that is responsible in maintaining a healthy immune system by engulfing microorganisms. But because of evolution, Charles Darwin, okay, nawalan ng function si appendix. So kahit tanggalin mo si appendix, okay lang. Kasi wala ng function yung appendix natin. Before, kasi ang accessory organ lang yan. Diba? Kaya tinawag siyang accessory organ. But long before, ang appendix mo ay involved in maintaining a healthy immune system. Now, of course, ang problema dyan, pag nagkaroon ng obstruction, di ba? Pag nagkaroon ng obstruction sa appendix by your fecality matters, ano yon? Appendicitis. Diba? Appendicitis. So, hindi totoo yung pag kumain ka, galaw ka ng galaw, makakaroon ka ng appendicitis. That's not true. O kaya kumain ka ng bayabas at kinain mo yung buto, magkakaroon ka. That's not true. There is obstruction and accumulation of fecality matters. That's the exact definition of appendicitis. Now, syempre, andyan na yung ating large intestine. Okay, sa large intestine na tayo. Sa large intestine na nakakasabay ba sa flow ng tae? Nakakasabay ba? Sa flow ng tae. Di ba dapat, imagine mo lang, doon na tayo sa large intestine. Sa large intestine, that is 1.5 meters. 1.5 meters yan. Okay? Ang function ng large intestine natin is absorption of water and electrolytes. Okay? Diyan na-absorb yung water and electrolytes. Okay? Diyan din nasa-secrete yung sobrang electrolytes like potassium in exchange with your hydrogen ions. Diba? Okay. Absorption of water and electrolytes. And of course, formation of feces or waste product. Okay? Yung large intestine natin, divided yan into 3. Ano yun? Yung ating ascending, transverse, at saka yung descending. Then, of course, we have your sigmoid colon, okay, yung anus, at saka yung rectum, at saka yung anus natin for evacuation. Tapos, meron tayong sphincter dito. Internal and external sphincter. Ang internal, that is involuntary. Ang external, yun yung voluntary. Okay, that's the voluntary. So, okay na tayo doon sa functions, anatomy, and physiology of your digestive system. We move on to your assessment. Okay, we move on to your assessment. Okay, importante dito, ang laging tinatanong when it comes to your assessment is yung abdominal assessment. Nasabi ko na last time during our diagnostic exam. Ano yung una mong i-assess?
Right.
Percussion, palpation, auscultation. Auscultation to prevent the alteration of the vowel sound. Ilang minutes natin i-assess ang vowel sound?
5 to 10.
Ano yun? 5 minutes. Saan ka mag-start? Right lower quadrant. Ano yung instruction mo before mo pahigain yung pasyente? Empty the bladder. Meron ba ang cavity na sa-separate ng GI and GU? Wala. So pag full ang bladder, si bladder nagiging GI organ? Yes. Okay. Ano naman yung procedure na kailangan din ng empty bladder to avoid puncture of the bladder?
Paracentesis.
Yung mga hindi nakakasagot, na kung tanongin nyo na yung sarili nyo, class. Okay? Ano yun? Paracentesis. Ano naman yung kailangan full ang bladder? KUB. KUB is the same as ultrasound? Yes. Okay, so mag-start ako sa my right lower quadrant. Diyan kasi pinakamalakas ang bowel sound. Kasi andyan ang ileocecal valve junction. Yung pag-transfer ng food from your ileum papunta sa my large colon. That's doon pinakamalakas ang bowel sound natin. Meron kang abdominal aortic aneurysm, makapalpate ka? No. Meron akong suspected ng appendicitis, makapalpate ka?
No.
May Wills tumor, makapalpate ka?
No.
Hindi rin pwede. Hindi rin pwede. Ano yung tawag doon? Doon sa maneuver when it comes to assessment of your ascites? Ascites? Yung pag may ascites ako, puposition ko sa right, syempre, yung fluid pupunta saan? Top or bottom? Bottom. Ngayon magpa-percuss ako. Ano ba yung normal percussion ng stomach? Flat timpani daw. Timpani. So, ibig sabihin, pag palpate ko dito at yung tubig nagpunta doon sa bottom, dito timpani, pero sa baba ay dal. Pag lipat ko sa kabila, yung tubig papunta doon sa kabila, pag palpate ko dito, ito ay, pag percuss ko ay, timpani, doon sa baba ay dal. Shifting dullness. Ang tawag natin doon sa maneuver na yon ay shifting dullness. This is assessment for your ascites. Okay? Shifting dullness. Pinasation sir, pinasation sir, right? Jejebon. So, pinasation ko siya sir, right? Ganon. Dull sa bottom. Yung law of gravity, timpani sa taas. Shifting dullness for ascites. But what's the best way to check or assess for ascites? A. Palpation. B. Shifting dullness. Letter C. Measuring the abdominal girth. Sagot natin? Letter D. Weight. Dagdagan natin. What's the best method to check for ascites? Assess ascites. A. Palpation. B. Shifting dullness. C. Measuring the abdominal girth. D. Checking the weight. Anong sagot? Anong sagot? Ulitin ko yung tanong. Ibahan ko yung question. The patient is observed to have bipedal edema. The best way to assess for bipedal edema is letter A. Pressing using your fingertips by checking its grade. Letter B, checking the weight. Letter C, measurement. Sa una muna, sa number 1 na question sa ascites. The best way is measuring the abdominal girth. There are many factors that may affect the weight of the patient. Yes, pag may tubig, bibigat ka. Pero kung tumaba ka, may fats, bibigat ka din, di ba? Next natin, sa number 2 na question, the best way pa din ay measurement. Okay, measurement pa rin ang best way to assess the edema and evaluate kung yung treatment mo ay effective, kung nag-improve ba yung pasyente. O natin. Sagot doon ay measuring the abdominal girth and of course, measurement of the affected na paa kung meron siyang edema. Okay. That's for your shifting dullness. Nasaan yung liver? Right or left? Right. Upper, lower? Upper. So, kailangan class, ito i-memorize mo na din kung anong quadrant ka. Kasi it would give you a clue when you are asked doon sa exam. Meron siyang left, lower, alam mo na agad kung ano yung organ ang affected. So, kailangan talagang may pictographic memory ka. Kailangan mo talaga ng pictographic memory when it comes to your medical, surgical, nursing. Okay, assessment sa abdomen, naka-flex or naka-straighten ng paa
Naka-flex.
to relax the abdominal muscles. And nag-assess ako ng bowel sound. Ano gagamitin ko? Diaphragm or bell? Bowel sound. Bowel sound. Diaphragm. Pag ang tanong ko ay assessment of the abdominal blood vessel, bell. Okay, bell. Kasi ang abdominal blood vessel lang ang sound niya ay bell. Low pitch sound. Eh, mag-assess ako ng lung and heart sound. Diaphragm. Kasi letter H, mayroon siyang high pitch sound. Huwag kalimutan yung class. Lilituhin ka abdomen. Agad-agad. Bell. Hindi mo naman tinignan kung bowel sound ba or abdominal blood vessels. Diba? Okay. Next natin. Now, these are the common assessment. Hey, are you okay? Negative pulse, negative breathing, negative. Baka dito ang problema. Nagkakalaw ko ba?
Nakakapayo pa ha.
Dito siguro sa connection. Medyo careful dapat ako. Okay, assessment na tayo if you have GI and hepatobiliary disorder. Okay, andyan na, sulat yan. Number 1, you have indigestion. Now, what are it connotes if you have indigestion? Indigestion yung parang laging may abdominal fullness. Hindi naman dito na.
Oo, talaga.
Kulang ng lubricant. Kulang ng pampadulas. Kailangan tansa na tupraan. Okay, ayan. Okay. Okay, indigestion, ito yung feeling of fullness. Okay, feeling of fullness. What it connotes if you have feeling of fullness all the time? That means baka kulang ka ng gastric acid. Okay? Kulang ka ng gastric acid. Kung kulang ka ng gastric acid, ibig sabihin, your parietal cell is not functioning well. Baka meron ka ding, ano yon? Pernicious anemia. Kasi same yung nagpo-produce ng gastric acid sa pernicious anemia. So, ibig sabihin ito, meron kang hypochlordia. Hypochlordia, ibig sabihin decreased gastric acid. And hypochlordia or decreased gastric acid would also signify that you have pernicious anemia. Because same cell ang nagpo-produce ng gastric acid at saka intrinsic factor. Now, indigestion, but indigestion is a common sign of gastric cancer. Sulat dyan. Common sign yan ng gastric cancer. Common sign of your gastric cancer. Naintindihan na yun? Indigestion, feeling of fullness, decreased digestion because of decreased gastric acid produced by your parietal cell. If decreased ang gastric acid or meron kang hypochlordia, okay, or hypochlordia, baka meron ka ding pernicious anemia kasi parehas yung cell na nagpo-produce ng gastric acid at saka intrinsic factor. But that is a warning sign of gastric cancer. Next, we move on to your nausea and vomiting. Ang nausea and vomiting at saka yung diarrhea, that is a compensation of your GI system. That is usually a compensation of your GI system. if you have infection, GI infection. Kaya kung titignan mo, lahat ng GI infection like typhoid, amoebiasis, cholera, dysentery, merong diarrhea, merong nausea, and vomiting. Why? It is a compensation of your body to remove the microorganism. So nausea, vomiting, compensation of the body, usually kung meron kang GIT infection. But nausea and vomiting, kung increase ang GI irritation, kung increase din ang GI irritation, meron ka rin nausea and vomiting. Now, for nausea and vomiting, symptoms din yan kung meron kang brain injury. Diba? Symptom din yan kung meron kang brain injury. Kasi bakit? Nagkaroon ng, saan yung vomiting center? Medulla oblongata. Diba? Sa medulla oblongata. So, sign din ng merong brain injury. Okay. Now, we move on to your diarrhea muna tayo. Mamaya yung abdominal pain. Now, diarrhea, if the cause of the diarrhea is infection, hindi tayo magbibigay ng anti-diarrheal medication. Like for example, amoebiasis. Okay? If amoebiasis ang cause of infection, hindi tayo magbibigay ng anti-diarrheal meds. Ano example ng anti-diarrheal meds natin? Loperamide. Okay? Yung loperamide natin, loperamide or yung ating Lomotil. Loperamide or your Lomotil, that is anti-diarrheal medication. Your anti-diarrheal medication. Why? Response ng katawan natin ang diarrhea para mailabas ang microorganism. Okay. But if the cause of diarrhea is probably not related to infection, magbibigay tayo ng loperamide. Like for example, hyperthyroidism. Okay. Next natin. Now, sa diarrhea, kung may infection, anong priority natin? Prevention of dehydration. Prevention of dehydration. Prevention of dehydration. So, kasama ko na rin yung discussion dito doon sa GIT infections natin. Okay. Next natin, abdominal pain. Okay, abdominal pain. Abdominal pain, ang reason yan, one, tumor compression of the underlying organ or irritation. Kaya meron tayong abdominal pain. And of course, inflammation of the underlying organ like your appendix or pancreas. Next natin is constipation. Constipation. Okay, constipation. Constipation due to decreased peristalsis. Decreased peristalsis, and of course, low fiber diet. Decreased peristalsis, low fiber diet. Before we move on, mamaya i-discuss na rin natin lahat ng intervention for diarrhea and constipation. So that when we discuss yung mga disorders, hindi na natin i-discuss. So decreased peristalsis due to the low fiber diet, ano pa? Decreased mobilization, diba? Or exercise. Kaya anong instruction natin pag may constipation?
Mobilization.
Mag-exercise, high fiber, at saka increased oral fluid intake. Last resort natin ang paggamit ng laxative. And of course, bleeding, okay? Bleeding, pwedeng ito ay upper and GI bleeding. Pag upper GI bleeding, anong color ng tae?
Black.
Black, or that is your
melena.
Black tarry stool or melena because the blood will mix to your gastric acid. Pag lower GI naman, fresh blood. Anong tawag noon? Hematochezia. Okay, hematochezia, pwedeng meron siyang hemorrhoids or pwedeng meron siyang colorectal cancer. Hemorrhoids or your colorectal cancer. Hemorrhoids or your colorectal cancer. Okay, before we move on to your diagnostic procedure, tapusin lang natin yung interventions natin for your assessment. Tapusin lang natin yung interventions natin for your assessment. Now, for your nausea, vomiting, and dehydration, wherein we could not give, di ba? Hindi tayo makapagbigay ng anti-diarrheal meds because the cause of the diarrhea is infection. Priority natin would always be what? Dehydration. Now, sa dehydration natin, meron tayong ginagamit na protocol doon sa IMCI when it comes to dehydration, di ba? Sa IMCI natin, meron tayong IMCI protocol when it comes to dehydration. Sa IMCI, for us, di ba sa IMCI, pina-classify natin yan. Ano yun? Yung color? Green, yellow, and red ba?
Pink or red.
Pink or pink. Okay. Now, meron tayong pinatawag na severe dehydration. Okay. Pag severe dehydration, tatandaan nyo lang, lahat yan puro S. Okay. Lahat yan puro S. Okay. Pag severe dehydration, titignan natin yung bata ay sleepy. So, lahat yan merong letter S. Sleepy. Okay. Sleepy. Ano pa? Kung severe dehydrated, may energy ka pa ba o wala? Wala na. Kaya nga ikaw ay sleepless. Okay? Kaya ikaw ay sleepless. Kasi wala ka ng energy para uminom. Ano pa? Meron kang sunken eyeballs. Diba? Meron kang sunken eyeballs. And of course, yung skin turgor mo ay ano? Poor skin turgor. Lahat yan nag-start sa letter S. Now, doon sa ating IMCI, meron tayong plan. Diba? Meron tayong plan A, plan B, and plan C. Okay. Pag plan A, ay pag merong severe dehydration, severe dehydration, severe. Anong plan? Plan C. Anong gagawin sa plan C? Magbibigay tayo ng IVF, intravenous fluid. Anong intravenous fluid ang ibibigay mo? LRS, lactated ringer solution. So pag severely dehydrated, IVF plan C, LRS. Pero 'di ba, bago mo masabing may dehydration sa IMCI, kailangan mo ng dalawang sintomas. So kunwari, meron kang sleepless, ang sintomas na nakita mo ay sleepless yung bata, at merong poor skin turgor, severe dehydration. Kailangan kasi ng ilang sintomas? Dalawang sintomas. IVF, LRS, bibigyan natin yung bata for 6 hours. Then, after nagbigay ka ng IVF, nag-reassess ka ulit. Okay, nag-reassess ka. Okay, nung ni-reassess mo yung bata, chinek mo, yung bata na ngayon ay restless. Yung bata ay restless. Yung bata ngayon ay full, pero meron pa rin siyang sunken eyeballs at meron pa rin siyang poor skin turgor. Okay, meron pa rin siyang poor skin turgor. So, ni-reassess mo after giving, you reassess after giving your IVF na LRS, nakita mo yung bata full at meron pa rin siyang poor skin turgor. Anong classification mo na? Some dehydration. Sa some dehydration, anong plan na ang susundin mo? Plan B. Okay? Plan B. Sa plan B, magbibigay ka na ngayon ng ORS, Oresol. Magbibigay ka na ngayon ng Oresol. Ilang oras mo ibibigay yung Oresol? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 letters yung sum. Ilang oras bibigay yung Oresol? 4 hours. 4 hours ibibigay yung Oresol. Ibigay yung Oresol for 4 hours. Okay. Next, after giving Oresol for 4 hours, magre-reassess ulit tayo ng bata. Okay? Nung nire-assess natin yung bata, ang nakita mo na lang sa bata ay poor skin turgor. So, ilang simptomas ang nakita ko? Ilan? Isa lang. Ngayon, ilan ang kailangan natin para sabihin may dehydration? 2. Nakuha natin. Nakita ko poor skin turgor na lang. Anong classification sa IMCI? No dehydration. No dehydration. Kasi kailangan natin ng 2 sintomas para maklasify na meron siyang dehydration. Pag no dehydration, anong gagawin na natin? Plan A. Plan A. Pag plan A, ano na to? Home treatment. Pauwiin na si mother. Mag-educate ka na. Continue breastfeeding. Continue breastfeeding at bibigyan natin ng zinc vitamin. Bibigyan ng zinc vitamin. That is your management for your dehydration. Management for dehydration. Ilang sintomas ang kailangan para maklasify na may dehydration sa IMCI? Ilan? Sleepless at may sunken eyeball. Anong classification? Ano? Severe. Pag severe, anong plan? Anong bibigay ko sa bata?
IVF, LRS.
Anong IVF? LRS. Nag-reassess ako. Pag-check ko ng bata, yung bata ay sipful at may poor skin turgor. Anong classification? Some behind. Anong plan? Plan? Anong bibigay ko? Ilang oras ko bibigay? 4 hours. Ngayon, nakita ko yung bata nag-reassess ako after giving ORS. Meron na lang siyang poor skin turgor. Anong classification?
No treatment.
No dehy. Papauhin ko na yung nanay. Continue breastfeeding. Anong vitamin ang bibigay? Zinc. Tapos na usapan natin sa IMCI when it comes to your dehydration. Sa adult, meron bang IMCI sa adult?
Wala.
Management of child and infants. Sa adult, anong instruction natin? Siyempre, increase oral fluid. Saka siyempre, bibigyan mo rin ng IVF. Increase oral fluid intake and of course, IVF. Okay? Madali lang sa adult pag-maintenance ng dehydration na rin. IVF lang tayo, at saka syempre, increase oral fluid intake. Okay, balikan pa natin yung ibang interventions natin for other assessment. Constipation naman, dun sa constipation. For constipation, syempre, unahin muna ang independent interventions. Alam mo na, hindi mo na isusulat. High fiber, increase oral fluid intake, increase activity, pag magsi-CR, i-on mo yung water, stimulate, and so on. Okay, alam mo na yung independent na intervention natin. Ang last resort natin kasi dito ay magbibigay ng laxatives. Alam na yung types ng laxatives, di ba? Na-discuss natin last time. Ano yan? Yung bulk-forming laxative. Okay? Bulk-forming laxative, this is your psyllium. Okay? Yung psyllium natin, or ito rin yung tinatawag na Metamucil, or osmotic na laxative, or bulk-forming. Sir, bakit tinawag siyang bulk-forming? When you give this medication, psyllium or Metamucil, it will form a bulk. It will absorb all fecalate matters in your intestine and also water, and it will form a bulk. While you are taking psyllium, since it will form a bulk, kailangan din high fiber ang diet mo. Kailangan high fiber ang diet at saka kailangan increase oral fluid intake. Your bulk-forming laxative, psyllium or Metamucil. It absorbs fecalate matters and water in your intestine to form a bulk. while taking psyllium or methamycil, you need to increase oral fluid intake and your fiber. Number 2 natin, yung ating lubricants. Okay, classification of your laxative. Number 2, your lubricants. Si lubricants, same. It absorbs water in your intestine to soften the stool, but at the same time, it lubricates, okay? It lubricates the anal mucosa. So same lang yan, absorbs water to soften the stool, and of course, lubricates the anal mucosa. An example of your lubricant is your mineral oil. Okay? Yung mineral oil. Ito yung nabibiling parang 30 ml doon sa pharmacy. Okay, pag ininom mo yan, pag magpupupo ka, parang may manti-manti ka pa dito paglabas. Yeah. Mineral oil yan. Mineral oil. Okay, softens the stool, lubricates anal mucosa, si mineral oil. Number 3 natin, yung chemical irritants. Okay, chemical irritants, or this is also known as your chemical stimulants. Okay, chemical irritants or stimulants. Ito yung pinakasikat. Sino yun? Si bisacodyl. Bisacodyl, or ito yung ating Dulcolax. Okay, bisacodyl or your Dulcolax. Si chemical stimulant or irritant, madali lang tandaan yan, it irritates the gastric mucosa to increase peristalsis. Di ba? It stimulates or irritates the gastric mucosa to increase peristalsis, Now, however, nakwento ko na ba ito sa inyo yung may namatay kaming pasyente na may congestive heart failure? Kasi ang binigay sa kanya ay bisacodyl. Ang problema dito kasi, aside from irritating the GI mucosa, it could also irritate your vagus nerve, di ba? Pag na-irritate si vagus nerve, ano mangyayari? Babagal ang tibok ng puso, bradycardia. Common na constipate ang pasyenteng may CHF kasi ang instruction lagi natin sa kanila ay magpahinga. Pag immobile ka, at risk ka for constipation. So, anong bibigay mo na? Yung number 4 na. Colace or your stool. Yun. Colace or your stool softener. That is also known as your docusate sodium. Docusate sodium, or that is also known as your colace. Papalambutin lang niya yung tae para ma-evacuate, hindi ma-irritate yung ating vagus nerve. Ito hindi pwede kung meron kang may constipation at may sakit sa puso. Nahirapan na si myocardium, ibababa mo pa ang kanyang heart rate. So there you go yung laxatives natin. Aside from laxatives natin, na last resort pag may constipation tayo, meron pa tayong ginagawang procedure. Ano yan? Enema. Okay, your enema. Enema natin. Ano yung mga interventions natin sa enema? For your enema, depende sa type ng enema, di ba? Enema, purpose for fecal evacuation. Now, the purpose and your responsibilities depends on the type of enema. Diba? Ano yung type ng enema natin? Siyempre, yung pinaka-common, si cleansing enema. Okay? Si cleansing enema, or ito rin yung soap sad. Okay? Yung soap sad. Ano yung ginagamit na soap? Sabi ni Cogier natin. Anong tawag sa ginagamit na soap? Sabi ni Cogier. Wala talaga nagpasa ng Cogier. Castile soap. Castile soap. Bagalan ko lang. Kaya. Okay. Castile soap. Now, cleansing enema, ginagawa yan ilang minutes. Purpose muna tayo. Bakit ginagawa yung cleansing enema? Ito ginagawa pre-surgery, di ba? Pre-surgery or a diagnostic procedure. Like for example, colonoscopy to clear the bowel for better visualization. Di ba? Ginagawa yan pre-surgery, pag lower GI, especially sa mga intestine. And of course, for diagnostic procedure, to clear the bowel, okay, for better visualization. Yung cleansing enema. Okay? Ito rin yung kailangan, ito yung return flow, pagbalik niya, clear na dapat yung solution. Ibig sabihin, pag clear na yung solution, clear na yung bowel, na ilabas na lahat, mas maganda yung visualization natin. Pinaka-purpose ng cleansing enema natin. Okay, ginagawa to 10 to 15 minutes. Hino-hold, diba? You have to hold the solution. You have to hold the solution here for 10 to 15 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes, you have to hold the solution. And of course, release it. I-check mo kung hanggang maging clear na yung solution. Next natin, anong position? Seams or side lying, diba? Seams or side lying to the left, diba? Seams side lying, left side lying position. Next natin yung height. Yung height. Okay. For non-retention enema, di ba meron kasi tayong retention and non-retention enema. Ang cleansing enema, that is a non-retention enema. Non-retention, ang height niya, hindi ka lalagpas ng 18 inches from the rectum.
So may feel ka.
Di ba may pail ka? Di ba? May pail ka. Ito na lang. May pail ka. Tapos meron tayong tube. Ang height niya from the rectum should not be more than 18 inches. Di ba? Pag more than inches kasi, ano pwedeng mangyari? Ano pwedeng mangyari? Pundas. Ano pwedeng mangyari pag more than 18 inches yung height ng pail?
Grabe yung pressure. Baka lumabas sa...
Cramps. Di ba? Cramps. Mabilis ang flow ng water resulting to cramps. At kung may cramps, anong gagawin? Clamp. Cramps equals clamp. Cramps equals plus ito, lalabas basic procedures, skills ang lumalabas sa board exam. Kaya dapat memorize mo yung step-by-step procedure at mga do's and don'ts ng isang skill or procedure. Kasi yun ang ilalabas. Kasi yun naman ang ginagawa natin sa hospital. Cramps equals clamp. Pero pwede mo rin ibaba yung tail, di ba? Kasi dapat hindi siya not more than 18 inches. Ang una mong gagawin actually, ibababa mo yung tail. Pag nawala ang cramps, edi okay. Pagbaba mo, hindi pa rin nawala ang cramps, anong gagawin na? Clamp. Cramps equals clamp. Cramps equals clamp. Okay. Next natin. So number 1, yung ating cleansing enema. Number 1, the cleansing enema. Number 2 natin. Number 2, yung carminative enema. Diba? Yung carminative enema. Carminative enema. Carminative enema, the purpose of this is to release gas. The purpose of this is to release gas. Plus, stimulate peristalsis. Okay? Plus, stimulate peristalsis. Release gas and stimulate peristalsis. The solution here, umaabot yan ng 60 to 80 ml. Umaabot yan ng 60 to 80 and ano ba naman sa mga kaibigan ko kasi nahawaan na naman ako ng sipon. Sharing is caring daw kasi.
And, release gas and...
Okay, next. Okay, next natin. Release gas and stimulate peristalsis. 60 to 80 ml. Number 3, yung oil-based. Oil-based or ito yung tinatawag nating retention enema. Oil-based or retention enema. Oil-based retention enema class. Ano to? Allergy? Oh, last week na ito na naman ako. Anyway, kaya natin yan. Kaya ko yan. Oil-based, wait lang, mga 1 minute. Oil-based, pangalan ko na lang. Napapera sa siguro yung boses. Tagal mo din nag-lecture eh. Kasanay na everyday kasi. Ha? Sa chan. Abdominal cramping. Sa ulo naman, mag-cramp. Sa chan. Okay, 80 to 120 ml ang solution natin. Here, you have to hold the solution up to 1 to 2 hours. Okay? Hold the solution kasi nga retention. Okay? Retention enema. Hold the solution 1 to 2 hours. The height of the pail here is 12 inches. Okay? 12 inches. So do not go more than 12 inches here. Kasi bakit? For retention ito. Mas matagal mong i-hold yung solution. Diba? So 12 inches pag retention enema. Pag non-retention na cleansing, not more than 18 inches. Okay, not more than 18 inches. Anong purpose ng oil base natin? Ito, to soften the stool. Ginagawa yan kung meron tayong fecal impaction. Okay, ginagawa yan kung may fecal impaction. Soften the stool and lubricate the anal mucosa. Okay. Soften the stool and lubricate the anal mucosa. Yung oil base natin ng retention enema. Okay, now your next natin, meron pa tayong isang type ng enema, yung commercially prepared. Okay, commercially prepared. Ano yung tawag doon? Yung ating fleet enema. Okay. Yung fleet enema na, may tissue kayo, class? Hindi ako ng tissue. Baka biglang lumabas ang aking, Mississippi River.
We should interview na. Napkin yan, sir.
Club.
Pwede. What could this be?
Okay.
Fleet enema. Sa fleet enema, walang tube ito. I-attach mo lang yung nakasama ng binili mong enema, sachet ng enema, may i-attach ka lang doon na connect na parang tube. Then that's the time. Then you will use that. Walang pail at tube yung fleet enema natin. It's a commercially prepared enema. Bibilin mo lang yan parang sachet ng shampoo sa pharmacy. Then i-connect mo lang yung nakalagay na mismo kasama ng fleet enema na parang tube. Then yun i-insert ko. Siyempre, you have to lubricate the tube before you insert the tube. Okay, di ba? Lubricate mo using a water-soluble lubricant. And when you insert the tube sa enema natin, do not go more than 3 to 4 inches. Di ba? When you insert the tube for your enema, do not go more than 3 to 4 inches. Bakit? baka magkaroon ng perforation. And pag nagkaroon ng perforation, fecality matters will go out, papunta sa may peritoneal cavity, resulting to peritonitis. Resulting to peritonitis. Ano yan yung rigid, board-like abdomen. Signs and symptoms of peritonitis. Ano yung signs and symptoms natin? Rigid and board-like abdomen. Ano pa? Decrease or absent bowel sound. Decrease or absent bowel sound. Okay, ano pa? Sudden abdominal pain. Sudden abdominal pain and leukocytosis. Leukocytosis, or that is increased WBC. Leukocytosis or increased WBC. Signs and symptoms of your peritonitis: rigid board-like abdomen, decreased or absent bowel sound, sudden abdominal pain, and leukocytosis or increased WBC. Okay, so that is your enema. Ano pa yung ginagawa pag may fecal impaction? Yung tinatawag nating scissor method. Okay? Yung scissors method. Scissors method plus mag-gloves ka, clean gloves, kasi hindi naman sterile yon, mag-gloves ka, then lalagyan mo ng water-soluble lubricant, pasok mo yung daliri. Okay, scissor method. Ganyan, ganyan, then hila. Ganyan, ganyan, hila. Scissors method. Okay, scissors method. Pasok mo lahat. Scissors method for fecal impaction. For fecal impaction. Now, we're done. We're done with your enema, laxatives. Punta na tayo sa diagnostic procedure. Okay? Punta na tayo sa diagnostic procedure. Remind me, mag-break tayo mga 3 o'clock. Okay lang? Kaya pa? Kaya ko pa. Okay. Diagnostic procedures. Parang sana na tayo sa diseases. Sa diseases, bukas matatapos na natin yun lahat. Diagnostic procedure na kalimitang ginagawa. One is endoscopy. Okay? Endoscopy. When you say endoscopy, meron tayong direct visualization using a fiber optic tube. Diba? Using a fiber optic tube. So, meron papasok na tubo, tube, okay, to directly visualize the part. Endoscopy. Now, main purpose of your endoscopy, maraming purposes yan. One, yung direct visualization of the part. Ano pa? Collection of specimen. Okay? For what? For biopsy. Okay? For biopsy. Ginagamit din natin ang endoscopy for what? For aspiration. Ginagamit din yan for kung pasok yung tube, mag-aspirate ka ng gastric acid for analysis. Okay? For aspiration, biopsy, collect ng sample for biopsy, for aspiration. Another is insufflation. Okay? Insufflation. Okay? Insufflation, mamaya discuss natin yung balloon, okay? Yung esophageal balloon natin, or yung Sengstaken Blakemore tube. Okay, papasok din ng tube yun, pero maki-inflate ng balloon. Kaya nga tinawag siyang insufflation. Now, endoscopy, ginagamit mo rin yan na treatment or management. Para saan? To remove extra substances that would cause obstruction. So, pwedeng gamitin din siya as treatment or management para matanggal yung bumara. Okay? Now, for your endoscopy, meron tayong types of endoscopic procedure. One, yung gastroscopy. So, tingin lang sa picture. Gastroscopy, pasok ng tube hanggang sa may tiyan. Pasok ng tubo hanggang sa may tiyan. Sir, bakit ginagawa ang gastroscopy? One, to check for possible pernicious anemia. Ano pa? To check for bleeding. Okay? Pernicious anemia, bleeding, or kung merong tumor. Okay? Kung merong tumor, kaya ginagawa ang gastroscopy. Since mapapasok ka So since mapapasok ko ng tube, ano yung kailangan ba i-paralyze ang gag reflex? Yes. So paralyze the gag reflex natin. So after the procedure, anong position ng pasyente? Sideline
Pernicious
to
anemia.
for what? Drainage of secretion. Before the procedure, kailangan naka-NPO midnight din ang pasyente. Naka-NPO midnight din ang pasyente. And of course, meron tayong i-spray dyan, anesthetic spray, okay? That will aid in the passing of the endoscopic tube, okay? Passing of the endoscopic tube natin. Okay, that's for your gastroscopy. Nakuha yun, NPO midnight. Tapos, kailangan side lying after the procedure. Meron tayong anesthetic spray na binibigay. Pina-paralyze ang gag reflex. Ginagawa for pernicious anemia, may bleeding, merong tumor. Normal lang kaya na merong hematemesis after the procedure? Yes, kasi baka yung pagpasok ng tube, medyo nasugat or na-scratch yung mucosa. Okay, your gastroscopy. Next natin yung proctoscopy or sigmoidoscopy. Proctoscopy or sigmoidoscopy. Dito naman, kina-check natin visualization of your sigmoid colon, the rectum, and your anus. Okay? Sigmoid colon, rectum, and anus. Bakit ginagawa? Baka meron kasing change in bowel movement. Change in bowel movement. Merong diarrhea. Okay? May chronic diarrhea at merong bleeding. Okay? May chronic diarrhea or merong bleeding. To check for presence of polyps or tumor. To check for presence of polyps and tumor. Since dito sa lower bowel na ang tinignan natin, to make it clear, syempre kailangan natin dyan naka-NPO ka, clear liquid diet ka, naka-clear liquid diet ka. Usually, ito ay 1 to 2 days na clear liquid diet. Aside from that, kailangan low residue. Okay? Kailangan low residue. And in the morning, NPO ka, laxative midnight. Magla-laxative ka sa gabi. Laxative ka, midnight. And of course, in the morning, before the procedure, magka-cleansing enema ka. NPO, midnight, clear liquid diet for 1 to 2 days para clear talaga yung lower bowel mo, low residue, laxative midnight, and enema in the morning before the procedure. Enema in the morning before the procedure. Okay, if you will insert tube doon sa anus or mag-enema ka, are you going to watch out also for vagal stimulation? Yes. So hindi pwede yan, contraindicated to patients with CHF. Pero kailangan i-check natin yung kanyang heart rate. Kailangan i-check yung heart rate. Okay, proctoscopy and your sigmoidoscopy. So pwedeng check mo kung nagkaroon ng stimulation yung vagal nerve after the procedure. Pero ang pinaka-common class at laging tinatanong sa board exam ay colonoscopy. Yan lang yung laging tinatanong sa exam. O colonoscopy. Bakit, sir? Colonoscopy kasi, ito yung screening procedure natin for colorectal cancer. Okay? That's your screening procedure for your colorectal cancer. Remember, if you are 50 years old and above, pag 50 years old ka na and above, kailangan every year nagpapa-colonoscopy ka. Okay? So 50 years old above, when you're 50 years old and above, every year ka dapat nagpapa-colonoscopy. And of course, every 10 years. Hindi ka pa 50 years old, every 10 years, dapat nagpapa-colonoscopy ka. This is your screening test for your colorectal cancer. Nagamit yan to diagnose colorectal cancer. For the specific diagnosis, the colonoscopy plus mag-collect ng specimen plus ibabiopsy. Importante dito yung preparation natin kasi kailangan 2 to 3 days siyang naka-clear liquid. 2 to 3 days siyang naka-clear liquid. And then 1 to 2 days low residue diet. 1 to 2 days na low residue. 1 to 2 days na low residue diet. Then kailangan naka-NPO siya midnight. Naka-NPO midnight. And then 2 nights siyang maglalaxative. 2 nights siyang maglalaxative. Kasi dito sa colon area yan, no? Dito. Yan, dito siya. Yan ang titignan natin. Okay? 2 nights siyang maglalaxative. And of course, in the morning, kailangan din niya mag-inima. And in the morning, kailangan din niya mag-inima. So, tatandaan, colonoscopy, kailangan natin yan 50 years old above, kailangan every year. And then, wala ka pang 50 years old, kailangan every 10 years na colonoscopy ka. Okay? Ilang days na kailangan clear liquid diet? 2 to 3 days. Okay, 2 to 3 days. Okay, other procedures, diagnostic laboratory exams. Okay na tayo doon sa endoscopy. Endoscopy, pag gastroscopy, after the procedure, position ng pasyente, sagot? Sideline. Ano yun? Sideline. Nagproproduce ng gastric acid.
Parietal cells.
Ano yun?
Parietal cells.
Parietal cells. Saan dumadaan ang bile at pancreatic enzyme papunta sa duodenum?
Common bile ducts.
Saan? Common bile ducts. Saan ka mag-start, mag-assess ng
Right
bowel
lower
sound?
quadrant.
Right lower
Quadrant.
Bibigyan ko ba ng bisaco doon yung pasyente may constipation na may CHF?
No.
Bakit?
Vagal stimulation.
Vagal stimulation ang mangyayari.
Bradycardia.
Bradycardia. Ay, ano yung laxative na kailangan ng increased fiber because fiber and oral fluid intake?
Oil-based star.
Psyllium or your bulk-forming laxative. Diba? Yung bulk-forming laxative. Pag tinanggal ang appendix, okay lang ba? Yes! Yes. Okay, yes. Saan mag-start? Mag-assess ng bowel sound? Right lower. May digestion, may mechanical digestion ba sa mouth? Yes! Chemical digestion ng protein? Carbohydrate? Yes. Okay. Major sign of digestion and absorption?
Small intestine.
Sagot? Titignan ko si pancreas. Anong titignan ko enzyme? Lipase. Ano yun? Lipase. Mag-cleansing enema ako. Beyond 18 inches, yes or no? Yung fail. No. Nagkaroon ng cramps. Anong unang gagawin?
Lower.
Anong unang gagawin? Ibaba muna. Binaba, meron pa rin cramps. Anong gagawin? Ano yun? Clamp. Okay, clamp. Ilang minutes gagawin ang cleansing enema to hold the fluid? 10 to 15 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes. Pag retention, ilang inches yung pill doon sa may rectum? Ano yun? 12 inches. 12. Ilan ang sintomas pag dehydration sa IMCI na kailangan? Ha? Nakita ko lang ay pulse contortor sa bata. No dehydrate. Anong plan? Anong vitamin ang bibigay? Perfect na tayo dun. Next. Wala pang pre-op na. Dapat ganun lang kabilis ha. Wala pang pre-op. Next is diagnostic procedure. Ito alam na natin. Stool exams, guayak. Ay, sorry na, wala na naman.
Now, ice cream man.
Okay, next natin is stool exam. Sa stool exam, of course, you will collect. And ang tanong nun sa exam is paano ka mag-collect? P-size lang. P-size ang sagot doon. Sabi ni Bruners and Sudart and Koshir, P-size of stool. P-size. Hindi isang arenola, dadala ko. Okay. If you collect a stool, kailangan within 1 hour na idala mo agad sa laboratory. Why? Pag amoebiasis yung sa pasyente, kung beyond 1 hour mo dinala yung stool sample mo, hindi mo na makikita yung entamoeba histolytica. Mamamatay na kasi paglabas ng katawan yung entamoeba histolytica. So once you collect stool for your diagnosis, kailangan immediately
Within 1 hour.
immediately you have to bring the stool to the laboratory, okay, to diagnose. Water-soluble lubricant.
Oh.
Kailangan nyo ng missionary position. Okay, you have to bring immediately the stool to the laboratory to see the microorganism. Kasi beyond 1 hour, mamamatay na yung ating microorganism, especially your Entamoeba histolytica. Okay. Other diagnostic procedure that involves collection of your stool is your guayak test. Or this is also known as your occult blood testing. Occult blood testing or your guayak test. Okay? Ang specimen natin dyan ay stool. Okay? Ang specimen natin dyan ay stool. Sir, bakit ginagawa ang occult blood testing? Ginagawa yan to check for presence of microbleeding. Okay? To check for presence of microbleeding. Ito yung bleeding that you cannot see with your bare eyes. Okay? Hindi mo makikita yan. Okay? Yung occult blood testing natin or guayak testing. For guayak testing, meron tayong preparations. Okay? Preparations natin. 3 days, bawal ang red meat. Okay? 3 days, bawal ang red meat. Bawal ang red meat. Ano pa? Iron. Okay? Iron. Red meat, iron, 3 days before the procedure. Bawal din ang steroids. Okay? Bawal din ang steroids. Why? Your red meat, iron, and steroids will make your stool darker. It would result to what? False positive result. Magkakaroon ka ng false positive result. Pwede magkaroon ng false positive result. So, bawal ang red meat, iron, and steroids that will make your stool darker. Baka magkaroon ng false positive result. Bawal din ang high doses of vitamin C. Bawal ang high doses of vitamin C. Okay? High doses of vitamin C. Why? Because it will make your stool naman very light. Kaya pwede ka magkaroon ng false negative result. Pwede ka magkaroon ng false negative result. High doses of vitamin C. Ano pa yung bawal? Yung ating mga gulay that includes broccoli, cauliflower, cauliflower and turnips. Bawal din. Okay, broccoli, cauliflower, and turnips. Kasi merong peroxide content yung mga gulay na yan. Broccoli, cauliflower, and turnips, bawal din. May peroxide content. Yung ginagamit na reagent na pangpatak doon sa guayak test, okay, may peroxide content. Okay? Yung ginagamit na reagents na pang-test ng blood doon sa stool mo, may peroxide content. Eh kung kumain ka ng broccoli, cauliflower, turnips, pwede kasing magkaroon ng false positive result. False positive result. So, ginagawa yan kung meron tayong bleeding na hindi nakikita with our naked eyes. Ano yung mga bawal 3 days before the test?
Red meat, iron, steroids.
Steroids. And high doses of vitamin C pwede? No. Magkakaroon ng false negative result. E turnips, bawal? Yes. Bawal? Yes. Baka magkaroon ng false positive result. Okay, next yung CEA, carcino-embryonic assay. Okay, CEA. Or antigen. Okay, carcino-embryonic assay or antigen. Itong CEA natin, carcinoma embryonic assay or antigen, ang specimen mo dito tatandaan ay hindi stool, kundi blood. Okay? Ang specimen mo dyan ay blood. Okay? Blood. Now, when you collect your blood, syempre kailangan mo ng heparin. Okay? Ano ulit si heparin?
Anticoagulant.
Kailangan tanggalin yung heparin sa medication mo. Kasi magko-collect ka ng blood at kung naka-heparin ka, edi bleeding. Okay? So when you take blood sample or specimen before your carcinoembryonic assay determination, stop mo muna ang heparin. Kasi blood nga ang sample mo. Mag-withdraw ka ng blood, naka-anticoagulant ka. And even what? And even your aspirin. Okay, so when you collect, ang collection natin is sa blood, okay? Discontinue yung heparin and aspirin when you collect blood. Ano pa? Magpa-positive kasi yan. Ito yung tumor marker natin for colorectal cancer. Yan ang ating tumor marker sa colorectal cancer. Or even gastric cancer. But it usually signifies a colorectal cancer. Pero is this the definitive test for cancer? No. Always pa rin ay biopsy through an endoscopy. Okay, so that is your tumor marker for colorectal cancer. Okay, stool exam, guayap test, CEA, okay na tayo dyan. Next natin, gastric fluid analysis. Next natin, gastric fluid analysis. Sa gastric fluid analysis, syempre, mag-i-insert tayo dito ng NGT. NG tube. Okay, nasogastric tube. But before insertion of NGT, syempre, instruct mo muna yung pasyente dapat naka-NPO midnight. Okay. NPO midnight, kinabukasan mag-insert ka ng NGT. Okay, pagka-insert ng NGT, mag-aspirate tayo. Okay? You aspirate gastric acid. Okay? Okay, gastric acid every 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes for 1 hour. Okay? Aspirate every 15 minutes for 1 hour of your gastric acid. Now, ano yung mga possible findings or conclusion that we could consider through gastric analysis, gastric fluid analysis? So, naka-NPO, insert ng NGT, mag-aspirate ng gastric acid. Now, pag decrease ang gastric acid, it signifies na meron siyang gastric cancer. Kasi nga, hindi na, di ba, meron tayong indigestion, walang gastric acid, gastric cancer. At saka, meron siyang pernicious anemia. May pernicious anemia. Pag-increase naman ang ating gastric acid, syempre, baka meron tayong ulcer, GERD, okay? Ano pa? Meron tayong tinatawag na Zollinger-Ellison syndrome. Zollinger-Ellison syndrome. Ano yung Zollinger-Ellison syndrome? Zollinger-Ellison syndrome, it's a tumor in your pancreas. Okay? Ang Zollinger-Ellison syndrome or ZES, it's a tumor in your pancreas, resulting to increased pancreatic enzyme. Okay? Zollinger-Ellison syndrome, that is a tumor in your pancreas, resulting to increased pancreatic enzymes. Okay, so that's for your gastric fluid analysis. Next natin, barium swallow and barium enema. Barium swallow and barium enema. Para saan ba ang barium swallow and barium enema? If we want to make sure kung nasaan yung location ng bleeding, pwede kasing upper and lower GI bleeding, or kung nasaan ang tumor, upper or sa may lower GI tract, hindi mo alam, pwede mo gawin ang barium swallow and barium enema. Barium swallow, barium enema, syempre gumagamit tayo ng substance, yung ating barium. Okay, gumagamit tayo ng barium sulfate. Your barium sulfate. Your barium sulfate, remember, this is a what? A chalky material or substance. A chalky material or substance. So for example, my order, both barium swallow and barium enema, ano uunahin mo? Parang spit or swallow? Ano unahin natin? Swallow or enema? Pag nag-swallow ka, saan ba nadaan si barium? Sa tiyan. Saan nadaan? Sa intestine at saka sa large o sa bowel. Eh di ba sabi natin, it's in what? Chalky material. So, kung chalky material yan, paano malalaman kung meron may problema sa lower bowel? So, ano mauna? Ano enema? Anong mauna? Enema or swallow? Enema. Barium enema. Okay? So, kung may order si Doc na both, you do barium swallow and barium enema. Ano ang unahin natin doon ay barium enema. Why? Sa barium enema, pag nag-swallow ka, dadaan yung chalky material in your intestine, paano pa ang better visualization kung chalky material? Kasi ang barium swallow, it could cause at the same time constipation. Okay? Constipation. So, unahin mo muna ang barium enema. Now, before barium enema muna, unahin muna natin itong barium enema. Before barium enema, syempre naka-clear liquid diet ka 1 to 2 days. Okay, clear liquid diet 1 to 2 days. Ano pa? Low residue to clear the bowel for better X-ray visualization. Kasi inom ka din, i-X-ray ka nito. Okay? Okay? Next natin, after the procedure, both barium swallow and barium enema, since your barium could cause constipation, after the procedure, kailangan increase oral fluid intake at saka high fiber diet. Both barium swallow and barium enema after the procedure. After the procedure. Now, after mo mag-barium enema, okay, ang next mong gagawin ay barium swallow. So, kahit mag-swallow ka at dumaan yung barium sa GI mo hanggang sa bowel mo, okay lang. Kasi nauna mo namang ginawa yung barium enema, clear pa yung bowel. Okay? Now, after the procedure, both barium enema and barium swallow, anong gagawin natin? Increase OFI at saka fiber in the diet. So, anong uunahin ngayon? Barium swallow, barium enema? Barium enema. Huwag na makakamali dyan, ha? Barium enema. Okay. Last natin dito sa procedure before tayo mag-break. Tapos, the diseases na kasi yung mga next dun, eh. Next natin, yung ating types of your GI tubes. Okay? Types of your GI tubes. Ano yung mga types ng GI tube natin? Siyempre, meron tayong single lumen. Yung Levine tube natin. Yung Levine tube natin, ito ay single lumen. Okay? Yung single lumen. Ito ginagamit natin usually for feeding. Di ba? Yung NGP natin. Okay? Ginagamit usually yan for feeding. Or yung ano yun, yung lavage at saka yung lavage at saka yung gavage. Lavage, mag-aspirate ka. Gavage, mag-feeding ka. Okay, yung Levine tube natin. Meron din tayong isang tube, yung Salem sump tube. Your Salem sump tube, ito yung double lumen. Okay? Yung double lumen. Or double lumen. Usually, ang Salem sump tube na double lumen, ginagamit yan for decompression. Ginagamit yan for decompression. para matanggal yung air inside your stomach for decompression. Usually, ini-insert yan after any abdominal procedure. Ini-insert yan after any abdominal procedure natin. Pwede rin i-connect yan sa may suction apparatus. Okay? Pwede rin i-connect for suction apparatus. So, for aspiration or decompression. Sir, bakit lagi pag any after abdominal surgery, merong naka-insert na tube? Ang purpose doon, is that for feeding? Any after surgery, pagkatapos ng surgery, any after abdominal surgery, may naka-insert na tube. Para saan yun? Ha? Is that for feeding? No, after surgery, naka-NPO pa yung patient. Is that for medication? Yes or no? No, kasi nga naka-NPO pa siya. So, ang purpose niya? For decompression. For decompression. Sir, bakit ka nagde-decompress? To maintain the integrity of the suture. Kung mataas kasi yung pressures sa GI natin, doon yung suture, pwedeng masira yung integrity or yung suture mo, resulting to bleeding. So to decrease the pressure in your GI, nag-insert ka ng tube for decompression to decrease the pressure to maintain the integrity of the suture. Exact question doon sa board exam. Okay? Yung exact question sa board kung para saan yung tube after surgery. Remember para saan yun? Decompression. Okay, decompression. Another type of tube, yung ating Cantor tube. So, 1, 2, and number 3. Ito yung number 3 natin. Number 3, yung Cantor tube. Ang Cantor tube is a 3-way lumen. Okay? A 3-way lumen tube. A 3-way lumen tube. Ginagamit itong, sir, para saan? Insufflation. Insufflation. An example of this tube na sinasabi ni Uncle Brunner natin ay yung Sengstaken Blakemore tube. Yung Sengstaken Blakemore tube. Your Sengstaken Blakemore tube. Sa Sengstaken Blakemore tube, makikita mo yan doon sa may hepatic encephalopathy. Okay? Makikita yan, may discussion yan ni Uncle Brunner sa may hepatic encephalopathy. Sir, para saan? Late stage na yan ng liver cirrhosis. So, sa pinaka-late stage, yung hepatic encephalopathy, alam mo yung esophageal varices. Esophageal varices. Stop writing muna, tingin sa harap para ma-imagine natin. Now, sir, bakit ginagamit yan doon sa may late stage ng liver cirrhosis? Now, pag nagkaroon later on ng scarring sa liver, may scarring. Anong scarring is? Tagalog ay peklat. Pag may peklat yung liver mo, makakadaan ba yung dugo kung may peklat na yung liver? Yes or no? Hindi. So kung meron kang liver scarring, kaya may scarring ka sa liver, okay? Ano mangyayari? Magbabackflow ang blood papunta sa upper and lower body system natin. So sa upper, magkakaroon ka ng esophageal varices, backflow of blood going to your blood vessels into your esophagus. Okay? So obstructed kasi because of the scarring. O, babackflow siya. Okay, pagbaba naman, meron kang hemorrhoids. Now, meron tayong tinatawag na bleeding esophageal varices, late stage ng liver cirrhosis. Ginagamit natin to decrease or to stop the bleeding sa esophageal varices. So, meron tayong esophageal balloon dito. Tignan yung part. Esophageal balloon, ito. Your esophageal balloon. Your gastric balloon. Ito, ginagamit yung gastric balloon as a what? An anchor. Para nasa in place yung ating esophageal balloon. Okay? Ngayon, ito yung ating, another important part of that is yung ating rubber tip dyan. And of course, yung ating tube for us to aspirate fluid. Now, ang problema dito, class, once na dislodge, dislodge yung ating balon, pwede magkaroon ng obstruction. Diba? Tataas yan, pwede magkaroon ng obstruction. Kaya anong gagawin natin? Kailangan meron ka laging pair of scissors, gugupitin natin, okay? Gugupitin natin at gugupitin yung sa balon to prevent obstruction. Pwede tumaas kasi yung balon na yan, resulting to airway obstruction. So kung meron kang contour tube or sense-taken Blakemore tube, lagi dapat sa bedside pair of scissors. Kasi pag na-dislodge, kailangan gupitin, mag-deflate, bababa doon sa tiyan. Okay lang, maitatae mo naman yon. Hindi makakaroon ng obstruction. Okay? Pair of scissors. Discuss natin more of yan sa may liver cirrhosis tayo. Okay, before we move on to diseases at magkaroon ng break, mamayang hapon, GERD lang and ulcer siguro. Tomorrow, yung pancreatitis, liver cirrhosis,